Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'd like to welcome my co-host, Tate, Captain Mathews. Tate, Week 9's in the books, man.
Week 9's in the books. WCS Sports Conference looked good. Some big wins. Had some teams pick off each other, but there were a couple of boat races. Been down on. You have to excuse my attire. I spent the weekend down at Timms Ford Lake with Coach Blade. We were down there having a little boat racing expedition after the boat race that took place on Friday night. But
you thought Coach Darrin would be with you?
Well, yeah. Had a little engine trouble, but that's okay. We still got a big win over Maplewood. But
he still got it to shore, so to speak.
He got it to shore. He got it back in the slip. It's in the shop getting tuned up because he's definitely going to need all the pistons firing this Friday night.
I think you're right. All right, let's talk some exciting fall sports other than football. Golf. Congratulations to the Franklin boys golf team. They won the school's first state golf championship. Big win for Franklin, led by senior Jack Wilcox, who was even par over the two-day tournament. Jack Morris, 6th overall. Eli Cleveland, Cooper Wilcox, Harrison Akers rounding out the lineup. And I tell you, I went to that, Tate, and it's impressive what those guys can do under pressure. It really is.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, we got some great golfers in this county, and the cool thing is just like all the other sports, it used to be a Brentwood Ravenwood showdown, and now here we are, Franklin, just going to show if you can just make it out of that region golf tournament, you got a good chance to win it. And I'm really happy for Coach Whipple.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's one of the class guys, obviously the head baseball coach as well. But do we know, I'm guessing that's the first golf state championship in Franklin history?
Yes, and another thing.
Now, if you were still there, there'd have been the flagship.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true. The thing that was cool in talking to Coach Whipple, and I talked to Coach Craig about this too, and by the way, we'll get into this maybe some other time, but I was asking Coach Craig and Coach Whipple during the tournament, what do you do? Because I think the perception is in golf and tennis in particular in this area that you're just the bus driver. But Coach Craig mentioned to me that, there's some things he was doing in practice, which I thought was pretty cool, getting the team to practice together to make it more competitive and to come together as a team, which was really neat. And then in talking to Coach Whipple, one of the things he mentioned to me was on the first tee that everyone needed to hit an iron or a wood off the tee rather than a driver. And he talked about how they did that, and he saw all these other teams. They were off in the rough and in some bad positions off the tee. So that's coaching.
Coaching, that's right.
No doubt about it.
Coach is a coach.
Coach is a coach. William Griggs, congratulations. Brentwood finished 10th. Michael Hack, the freshman from Ravenwood, finished 15th. On the girls' side, Franklin girls finished 4th as a team, led by Izzy Griggs, who was 14th. Sophia DePaulo, 17th. Mary Sheffield Akers rounding out that team. Shelly Yang of Ravenwood finished 3rd overall. Gigi Powers, 20th. Taylor, no relation to Dr. Qualls from Independence, finishing 24th. So great job, all those golfers.
Showing. No surprise. Strong showing.
Soccer, we're going to have some more strong showings as we progress through this fall seasons. But in soccer, Brentwood defeated Ravenwood 2-1 in the soccer final. They both move on to the region tournament this week. And in volleyball, huge week. Nolensville not only wins the region, but they advance to the state tournament. And importantly, and you probably know this because you've dealt with this school a little bit doing business with them, they're opposite of Portland, which is big. Portland's on the other side of that bracket.
And that's where you want them.
That's where you have to be.
That's right. But, hey, man, Coach Young, he's been coaching volleyball a long time. But, the people in WCS don't maybe know it because he's been at Mill Creek, but he was the longtime volleyball coach at Smyrna. And, that's awesome. Made it to the state tournament. I think they got a chance to make some noise. Hugh Fogg's been a traditional power in that AAA. And, that was one of the teams they had to get past to get there, and they did that. And so I think they got a chance to make some noise. I saw where his Coach Young's daughter, Avery, she had a big district tournament and region tournament, and so that makes it even sweeter. But congratulations to them. You're right. Portland's the goal, the standard, but I'm not so sure they can't get to it this year.
I think they can too. Brentwood defeated Ravenwood in the region final. Then they both went on to qualify for the state tournament. Ravenwood turned it around from the year before against Station Camp. The identical thing happened last year. Station Camp was down 2-0. They come back to defeat Ravenwood. This year, Ravenwood on the road, down 2-0 against Station Camp. They come back to win, and I think Brentwood-Ravenwood, I think they play again here in about 3 or 4 days.
Oh, I think it would be great, and probably the best 2 teams in the state. And I think there's a chance you're going to see Brentwood-Ravenwood soccer again as well. So the Lady Bruins, going for the 7th in a row.
7th in a row.
That's. I'd love to know what goes through their head on that.
It's beyond impressive.
It's impressive. I wonder if there's any pressure. They just go out and play. I mean, they're competitors, but and then what if they do meet again? Will this be the 4th time or 5th time they've met this year?
This year, I think 4th.
That's tough to do.
No, it would be 5th, right? Twice regular season. District be 5th time.
5th time.
That's right.
I hope we get a 5th.
I do too. All right, let's talk football here. We'll start with the WCTV game of the week. Brentwood 33, Franklin 7. A little wider margin than I anticipated because of that rivalry. Brentwood led by Tate with 300 yards of offense. He played a part in all 4 touchdowns. And speaking of Cade, here are our WCTV plays of the week.
1st and 10. Comfortable lead, not an insurmountable lead. This time over the middle.
Oh, wow.
Pass is called. Looked like Aaron Walton, number 11, and he will take it the distance. 57 yards.
Granzow, just the old hot pass. And there we go, 57 yards in a cloud of dust. And the Bruins finally hit a big play as the Bruins extend the lead to 26-0 on the Aaron Walton touchdown.
As we tick down to 9 minutes to go in the ball game. Granzow again quickly over the middle, and this time caught one more time. Pass complete to number 43, Carson Dreyer.
Man, I don't think anybody realized he had it. Unexpected right here. They felt like they were going to run the clock a little bit. And the quick strike, this is the same one they had earlier, except that time Dreyer caught it unknowingly until about a step or 2 past, and he said, wait a minute, I got this thing. 67 yards, touchdown, Bruins.
Well, you see it right there. We talk about it every week. Granzow is going to beat you with your feet. His arm keeps getting better and better. That was a perfect pass on that slant to Walton, and then, that's exactly how you draw it up. Hit him in stride, catches it on the run, and splits that secondary, takes it all the way to the house. That was an impressive play, and then turn around and Carson, don't call me Caden. Caden, don't call me Carson Dreyer. Little seam route. He ran. I was talking to Coach Crawford over the weekend. He caught that thing. He ran like he stole something, man. He was not going to be caught. Took it all the way to the end zone. But what's cool about that is that passing game. Not that it was broke before. It keeps getting better and better. We already know what Walker Merrill can do. These guys keep emerging. You're not going to be able to double team them out there. And then, I don't know if you noticed the touchdown runs by Cade Granzow, 1 yard, 3 yards. That's what we keep talking about. Anytime they are 3rd and short, 4th and short, I don't know how you stop it, man. They spread him out. He's going to fall forward. Big old kid. Brent was playing well, man.
And their size really stood out to me. I went to the Brentwood-Ravenwood games. This is the second Brentwood game I've seen live. And, of course, Ravenwood's a different animal when you're talking about size, but they were really a lot bigger than Franklin.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes a difference. Brentwood defense holding Guy Lipscomb to 13 carries, only 32 yards, which is also impressive.
Oh, yeah. Held him well under 100 total. I thought that was very impressive. Defense played very well. And they're without 2 defensive starters right now. And he already 2 platoons, okay? And so they're out with two of their senior defensive starters, leaders, and to hold him well under 100 yards. They held Franklin total offense under 200 yards, played lights out. And, going into the game, You were one of them. I was one of them. But so was Coach Crawford. I mean, nobody saw 33-7, I don't think. And the other thing that I think we keep losing track of with Brentwood is the kicking game. Tabor Miller is back now. Great punter. And then with Thomas Day, with what he's doing on kickoffs, you don't have to worry about returns, field goals, extra point. They got the edge in the kicking game as well.
Moving on, Summit 25, Shelbyville 42. Now, I know you're not totally happy about this, but this was a separator in terms of our picks. Obviously, that pretty much locks up third for Summit in that region, which means first round's going to be at Beach or at Gallatin, it looks like. And not to make excuses for Summit, and I know Coach Coleman wouldn't, but really the schedule and the timing of some injuries, it couldn't have been worse for Summit, honestly.
No, and Shelbyville's a good team that's gotten better as the weeks have gone on. And like we talked about, Page is going to win this region. Page got by literally by the skin of their teeth, over Shelbyville. Shelbyville's a good team. Coach Palmer's a good coach, and but yeah, the injuries just came at a very, very poor time for Summit. I wish I'd have been wrong about that one, by the way. I would have gladly swapped for you to get another game up. But don't worry about it. We once we get healthy, going to Beach, going to Gallatin, that's going to be a tough task. But if Summit's healthy, they can beat both those teams.
No doubt about it. Summit up 9-7 early, then Shelbyville scores the next 35 points. And really, 42-25, it really wasn't that close.
No.
Which was a surprise to me.
They came back and cut it towards the end. But the other thing, too, is you talk about momentum all the time. You've seen it. You've had it happen to you more times than not. You all were giving it. But, like those Franklin teams you had the last couple of years. You start hitting threes, and next thing you know, that thing just momentum, right? It just got away from you. 3 fumble returns for touchdowns for Shelbyville. That won't happen again. You and I will be long. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so that thing got away from them really quick, too. The score is deceiving both ways. That game just got away from them.
Now, you're going to love this analogy. Mr. Cardwell at Beach used to tell me, he'd say, scoring is like trying to get an olive out of a jar. It's really kind of tight. But when you get that first one out, they just start flowing.
There you go. I like that.
So it was Olive City for Shelbyville there.
But
it is. It is.
I mean, 1 and then 2, holy cow. You might go 5 games you might go all year without giving up a fumble return for a touchdown. 3?
Yeah, let's hope that Summit gets back healthy and that week off really helps because we'd like to see, obviously, their best come playoff time.
I think this team's special.
Page, 38, Columbia, 7. Page seems to be a team going in maybe the opposite direction there as Summit. They're really playing well right now. Their schedule has worked out nicely when they had their bye. Cade Walker, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And they get off to quick starts.
Yes.
They were up 17-0 early and just rolled from there.
Big win. I think some people thought Columbia, because they have athletes, and Coach Hope does a good job, but thought this game would be a little bit closer. But you're right, Page jumped on them, and they never let up. And that's pretty fun to watch. They what we were talking about with Summit, they've it seems like the injury bug's gotten them the past couple of years. But we knew at the beginning of the year, if they stayed healthy, they were going to be really good. They're going to win this region. I think that's again. And
I think silently, sort of. I mean, people are talking about Page, but
they weren't the sexy pick.
No, and I think we've probably given, in all fairness, more attention to Summit.
Probably so. But I think they're okay with that. They'll take it that way.
They'll definitely take it. I know Coach Rathbone likes it.
He loves it. And, as far as balance goes, they're probably as balanced as anybody in the WCS as far as the passing and the running game goes. And, man, what a Bubba Johnson, what a difference having him back this year's made. And that offensive line playing really, really well. So, Cade Walker is, he just does it every week. I don't think we've come on this show this year where he didn't have 3, 4 total touchdowns.
Nolensville, 23, Maplewood, 10. The Knights moved to 8-0 in the season, 4-0 in the league. And I know they've got Franklin this week, but I've got my eye on that Marshall County game in the final week of the season. That's going to be a great game.
Going to be a great game. How do you go about approaching that? Here we are, we're 8-0, for the first time. Never been undefeated this deep into the season.
Wasn't 3-0 the first?
I think it was, correct.
So starting from 3, they keep setting a record for their school.
Keep setting a record. This could be their first win over one of the Big Six schools in.
And that's how you do it, by the way. Because you were going to ask me before I interrupted, how do you go about it? That you're playing one of the big boys, so to speak.
But do we go after this game 100%, or are we worried about?
I think he's got to. I mean, I really do.
I think for the school, for the program, I think you do, and I think they can. But don't let the Franklin record deceive you. But back to the Maplewood game, man, they're just playing great. They keep finding ways to win. Dan Rickert.
Yes.
Were you going to go here?
The big lineman.
The big lineman.
With 2 TDs, has that ever happened anywhere?
Not there. Did you see the punt return, the punt block for a touchdown? It wasn't even a block. He literally took it off his foot. No.
I didn't see.
I don't know if Mr. Producer can get it. It's he runs. There was no block. He runs. Took it right off his foot.
Like it was
took
a
it
handoff.
back in the end zone.
He handed him the ball.
Handed him the ball. It was like, this is. I didn't know what's called. And had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Had 6 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Did his best, Randy Macho Man Savage in the end zone after the block punt. So
Linemen dream of those kind of things.
and he's bigger than I thought he was. So what a great game he played. Kutris had another interception.
Of course.
So yeah, I thought that game would be a bigger score differential, but a couple years ago, Maplewood was more than they could handle. So just goes to show how much it's changed. And anytime you can get a win over Maplewood, region win, they're very happy.
21 penalties in the game. If you want to talk about a negative that they'll be talking about this week, I know Coach Derrick wasn't happy. 12 of those on Nolensville. Obviously, this late in the season, that might be
Got to clean that up.
alarm you a little bit.
Well, these next 2 weeks, that won't get it. Franklin and Marshall County can't have it.
Ravenwood, 38. Smyrna, 0. And I had said this last week. Again, no disrespect to the Bulldogs, but maybe they were the worst 4-3 team in Middle Tennessee, now 4-4. The return of Coach Daniels. Ravenwood moves to 7-1. Brian Garcia, same story, different chapter. 3 touchdowns. Tony Rice, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. Ravenwood rolls.
Ravenwood rolls, and yeah, they're 4-3 record. They're not anybody that they're going to see again in the playoffs unless it's the first round. But still, a 6A Rutherford County team, a proud tradition, and they've got some players. Dallas Walker, the tight end, defensive lineman that's going to Texas A&M, but Mason took another one back. Man, he is just so fun to watch.
Yeah. Out in space, forget it.
Forget it. Tough, and he's got such a quick burst. But I think the only thing I think you got to be happy about it, Coach Daniels back, calling the plays again. You know that he's the leader, right? He's the captain of the ship. What are you? Oh, captain, my captain. And so
Maybe we can let him borrow that hat.
That'd be great. You think he'd wear it on the sideline?
I think he might wear it in practice or something.
If we could find him a flat bill one, he would. But, Garcia, another great game. Probably a few more, probably too many incompletions for his liking, Coach Daniels' liking. You never know, a game like that, you're up 38-0, it can get sloppy. So I know they want to tighten that up a little bit, but they're on a mission come playoff time. I wouldn't want to see them first couple rounds.
I agree with you. Independence, 41, Dixon County 0. And I know it was against a struggling Cougars team, but I say this all the time about Independence. Their defense is better than they maybe get credit for.
Without a doubt. And they're kind of like Brentwood's. He's playing a lot of guys one way. He's platooning. And their defensive line's not the biggest defensive line in the mid-state, but, man, they play hard and they're fresh. They're going one way, and they say whatever you want to. They keep making plays and stopping people. And yeah, I mean, poor Dixon County, because great, Jay Palace and all them, we love them, but they struggle to score points in 11 AAA, and it obviously Friday night was no different, man. That's just tough. But Independence, I think they feel confident going into the playoffs. And Ethan Cash had another big night. Chase Bishop keeps making big plays. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of Independence. I think they're a little scary going into the playoffs.
I do too, and I think, folks are talking about that game, that last game of the year, Independence at Ravenwood, but I don't think there's many people outside of Independence that think they have a chance in that game.
No, and that's the way he likes it. I didn't think they were going to beat Blackman. They beat them the 49-7 or something crazy like
really
that.
Really bad.
Yeah, yes. So I'm there. I assure you, we've talked about this before. He don't care. If pick against him,
And he's not
losing.
watching. Or is he watching? Is he like closet watching?
He would never admit it. He knows what's going on.
All right, let's talk about this week's game. Summit with the bye. We've already talked about that, a much-needed bye. Our first game will be the WCTV game of the week. Franklin versus Nolensville. Franklin 3-5, Nolensville 8-0. It is homecoming for the Rebels. And by the way, I don't know if you've had
A
a
little late
chance.
for a homecoming.
It is, and there's some kind of event going on in downtown too, so they're going to move those homecoming events to Thursday. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do, being in this area for a while. But that homecoming parade, which goes through downtown Franklin, is pretty darn special.
Very cool. Very cool. And hopefully, do we know what the weather's going to be like Thursday? Going to be nice?
I do not know.
Maybe we can be down there, have a little mellow mushroom pizza.
Wave at the cars going by, the floats. And here's the other thing I was thinking. Early on in the season, and I know everybody said I was a Franklin homer, do they still have a chance to be the surprise team, which I said earlier? If they win this game and then win their final game 5-5, and I would say they will have a chance in that first round game.
Oh, I do too. I think we got every year going in. I think we have a chance to go 4-0 in the first round of the playoffs. We'll go 3-1. Cane Ridge is getting better.
Yeah.
But they're
As
not,
they always do.
as they always do. But they're not the Cane Ridge the last 2 years. So, and I think Coach Webb really wants to go into the. This is assuming they beat Dixon County, which we think they will.
I think that's fair.
I think he would really like to go into the playoffs for his team's psyche and mental state. I think he'd like to be 5-5. So this game is big, and it's a game that they can win. But obviously, where are they? Where are their pluses over Nolensville? Obviously, they're going to be bigger, and that big offensive line. But we got to. I don't know. I didn't see the Brentwood game. Don't know where it took a step backward. But that offense was really putting up some big points and yards. Got to fight. Lipscomb's got to have a big game. Let's call it what it is. And Jordan Nichols needs to have a big game as well. And they got to win the turnover battle. Try to keep Nolensville's offense off the field with that big offensive line. But it's a game they can win. But by no means is it a give me just because it's a 4A team.
Mr. Producer, I'll take care of the correction. Josh Nichols.
What'd I say?
Jordan. Oh. Josh, don't call me Jordan Nichols. So I got it. I took care of it. All right, our next game, Brentwood versus Knoxville Catholic. Senior night for the Bruins, a tough senior night opponent, and I think this has been talked about. As so many teams struggle to do this in our district, they had a pretty hard time scheduling games, so they had to get a home-and-home scheduled game with Knoxville Catholic. Not ideal for a senior night game.
No, it's not, but it's a cool game, and I'm excited to see how they go against each other. But what I think Coach Crawford said, he called 55 schools, and that back at Media Day, 55 schools.
It was a bunch.
It was a bunch. So, man, he got a good one. I mean, they're loaded, and I don't know if you heard him on. I had him on the radio Saturday. It was great. I mean, as always. And I said,
What's he think about the imitation you do of him? Does he ever acknowledge that it happens?
Yeah. He's good with it.
It's very good, by the way.
Well, I pride myself.
Your
on
Donnie
it.
Webb's pretty good.
Yes. I think my Scott Blade is very underrated.
I think the persona's good, but
Yes.
the dialect is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Not quite as good.
Yeah, but the mannerisms.
And I saw you do a Jeremy Qualls impression a couple of years. I thought that was pitiful.
Well, I didn't know. One, I'd never practiced it. He threw. I was on the. But
on
I got
the
all
spot.
I got all the buzzwords right.
Yes, you
got
did.
the buzzwords right.
You did.
But Coach Crawford had the great statement. He said, I was talking about, I think it's pretty cool that you scheduled. And he said, yeah. He said, I think it's gonna be a great game. Glad that the Knoxville Catholic boys can come down here and a bunch of them boys can come visit their families and see their families while they're here. I thought that was classic.
It's great. All right, we got to go. We're running out on time here, Tate. Centennial Pope John Paul. This is an interesting game, I think, for Centennial. They got the last two at home, including that final game against Brentwood. I think they'll be ready to go. I think Coach Kreisky likes this team, even though they've struggled a little bit, but I still say have played better than most people thought. They are coming off a bye week, which is good, and I say this, and I don't want to upset the folks at Centennial who have seniors on their team. It's a chance to play some of that young talent, too.
Without a doubt. I mean, you got to think Franklin's going to beat Dixon County. So, you got to get those guys out there. But, this is Pope John Paul's a pretty good football team. D2, they're kind of middle of the pack D2, but they're not the JP2 of old. They're a good program. So I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Alex Steele. But if we can do that, then I think the Cougars got a good chance.
Fairview 6-2 versus Dixon County 1-7.
Interesting.
Or 1-7, excuse me. It's an interesting matchup, and there's a difference between 3A and 6A.
No doubt.
So I think it's good scheduling on the part of Fairview, and geographically, that'll be kind of a rivalry feel, right?
I think it could be. I think it's a great idea. I hope Dixon County would, I feel like Dixon County maybe has more to lose, but I hope they keep doing it. And Coach Hughes talks about it all the time. A few years ago, they got out physical in the playoffs. He said that ain't gonna happen anymore, and he's beefed it up. And he's played Ravenwood last year. So, but I still think just too much firepower for Dixon County. Fairview, I think Fairview is going to be able to break some long plays.
Speaking of Coach Hughes, this week's nugget.
Jim.
It's a Jim?
It's Joins Jim.
Don't cut this out. That's right, it's Jim.
Yeah.
Where am I? Nugget, Jim, whatever. Coach Hughes is only 3 wins away from 100.
That's big.
If they finish out the season with 2 wins, which I think they will, we'll see.
Does that make him the winningest coach in Yellow Jacket history?
That I don't know.
I think it does.
That would be 100 if they win that first round playoff game, or if they lose one and win a couple in the playoffs. So congratulations to him when that happens, but it's going to happen. Independence, another interesting game. 6-2 versus Pearl Cone, 8-0. Pearl Cone with a couple of impressive wins. Cane Ridge 38-12, Maplewood 44-16, Hillsboro 47-40. I think this is a good matchup too.
Good matchup, and it's a good football team, and you're going to see 2 great quarterbacks, Ethan Cash for Independence, Martino Owens for Pearl Cone. He's the real deal.
Page 7-1 at Lincoln County. 2 teams obviously going opposite directions. Lincoln has been outscored 78-3 the last 2 weeks versus Shelbyville and BGA. Let's don't even talk about it. Let's move on. Ravenwood.
Gotta find my sun bum.
Ravenwood 7-1 versus Cane Ridge, a potential playoff matchup. They could play a couple times here in a few weeks. Ravenwood's been tested with that schedule. It seems like they're playing every week. It's a tough opponent.
6A football, man.
So another great game.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. But for the first time ever, I think Ravenwood has the edge in team speed. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Cane Ridge started the season with losses to Pearl Cone and Brentwood, but since then, as you talked about, it seems like it happens every year. 6 straight wins for the Ravens. All right, let's talk pick'ems. Last week, the fans, Qualls and myself, all 5-1. You were 6-0, so now you are only 1 game behind the fans.
Holy smokes.
They're 51-9, and keep going to Twitter, WCS CO Athletics. Keep casting your vote for the picks each week. I'm now 2 games behind the fans, 1 game behind you. Qualls, his record's so embarrassing, we will not mention it. But he is 4 games behind the guy who's 3rd, if that tells you anything.
It's not very good.
No, he's not doing very well. All right, let's go. This week's games, let's pick these real quick.
What do you expect from a robotics guy?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to start with you. I've got these set up so
All right,
I can
let's go.
I can see how you're going to pick. Franklin versus Nolensville. Who you got?
Who do you think I'm going to pick?
I think you're going to pick Nolensville.
Nope. I'm going with the Franklin Rebels.
Well, see, I was prepared to pick Franklin. But since you picked Franklin, I'll pick Nolensville.
Okay, great.
You messed me
But
up.
Nolensville's going to turn around and beat Marshall County and still win the region.
You messed me up with that pick.
Well,
My strategy went sideways. All right, Brentwood, Knoxville Catholic. I have Brentwood.
man, you know what I think of Brentwood, but I'm going with Knoxville Catholic. They're loaded.
Oh, well, there's
Plus Brentwood's got playoffs to worry about. You know, this game matters, but it don't matter. I'm going Knoxville Catholic.
Independence, Pearl Cone. What say you, oh Captain, my Captain?
I'm going with the Fighting Brunettis. I'm going with Pearl Cone. I think they're the real deal, man. I don't know that Independence can stop them.
I'm going Independence. So
This is separation Saturday.
Definitely. Centennial, Pope John Paul. I'm going with the Cougars.
I'm going to get kicked off this show. I'm going with JP2.
We have 4 games different.
I know.
Unbelievable. I'm looking for, if anybody wants to apply, message me at WCS.
Paul Brees.
Fairview versus Dixon County. I'm going with the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets.
Ravenwood, Cane Ridge. Ravenwood.
Ravenwood, without a doubt.
And our final pick. Page at Lincoln County. I believe we've got a couple of props for this one. Lincoln County. Coach Johnson, I know you used to be in WCS. RIP. Lincoln County season.
Lincoln County, they're in trouble. Boat Race City, Rathbone, heading down to Fayetteville.
And it wouldn't be
While
a-
you're there, make a little detour over to Lake Wilson. Say hello to Will Hester. 40-foot Donzie, baby. Boat Race City.
Definitely not a pontoon.
Tri-tune, maybe a tri-tune.
Tate, as always, thank you for being here.
Hey, the pit, it ain't what it once was. Boat Race City.
We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.